Good evening and welcome to this week's lockdown quiz. My name's Wayne and I will be your quizmaster tonight, guiding you through 6 rounds of grey matter stretching questions to help you forget about being stuck inside for an hour or so. I'll be running this quiz every Monday, so make sure you subscribe to the Lockdown Quiz channel on YouTube by hitting the button below and keeping an eye out on Carnero Lounge's Facebook page to know how to get involved in the future. I'm just going to go through the instructions for anyone who hasn't played before. If you already know how it works, the questions will start at 8:30, so feel free to ignore me waffling on for the first few minutes. So, firstly, if you can't see how this works, the How This Works page with my pretty little face in the bottom left-hand corner, you might want to refresh the video. Just click the refresh button or close the app and reopen it. It usually works. You'll need 2 devices to get the most out of this quiz. So you'll watch this stream on a laptop, a smartphone, or a tablet, or anything else that you can get YouTube on. And you'll also need to open the answer form on a second device. That's so that you can submit the answers as we go along and be in a chance of winning some fabulous prizes, which I'll get to later on. You'll find the link to the form in the description of the YouTube video. But don't worry, you've got until 8:30 to set it up. There's no need to panic. The 3 main points for this quiz, as we go through each question, we'll have a 30-second timer. Don't pause the video, as there'll only be a short window at the end of the quiz to submit your answers. If you miss this, you won't be able to win any prizes. Please don't use internet services to search for answers. It ruins the fun and it's completely against the idea of the quiz. Most of the questions have 3 multiple choice answers, so if you don't know it, just have a guess. You've got a 1 in 3 chance of getting the question right. I also need to know who you are, so you'll find 2 name slots on the form. The quiz name is what I'll read out at the end with the scores, and should you wish to win a prize for coming first or second, the real name is so that we can get your prizes to you. So as we go through the quiz, you'll see questions pop up on the screen. The orange circle on the left shows the round number and also the subject for that round. And in the very top right-hand corner, you'll see that 30-second timer I was on about. Once that turns red, we'll move on to the next question. Just below that, you'll see the question number, the question, and in most circumstances, 3 possible answers. These should match up with the answers on your form. If you have the answer form open, you'll start with the name input page. As I mentioned a moment ago, pop your quiz name in the first box, choose whether you'd like to win one of today's prizes, and if you pick yes, pop your real name into the real name box. On the following pages, you'll find the round number, the question number, and in most cases, 3 possible answers that will hopefully match up to the question on the screen if I got everything right when I was putting it together. All you need to do is pick your answers as we go along. There are a few answers that will need to be typed in. I will remind you at the time, but these will need to be perfectly correct, so no spelling errors. They need to be in full capital letters, and if you're using predictive text on your phone or tablet, please make sure there isn't a space at the end of your answer. If you don't do this, the form will automatically mark your answer incorrect. Just remember that computers are as dumb as people who Google answers to a pub quiz. Once we get to the end of a round, you press the next button, which will move on to the next round. The very last question in round 6 will be a tiebreaker, where you will need to guess the answer to a numerical question. In the event of a tie, the nearest answer will win, followed by, if need be, the next. So it's well worth having a guess, again, if you don't know. When we get back to the end of the quiz, you press submit. We'll then have a quick break whilst the magic happens and all of your scores appear here on my screen. This will only be a minute or 2, so as I said, don't pause as we go along. You need to stay in time with the live stream if you're playing along. I will go through all of the answers after the scores have been announced, so hang around at the end if you want them. And that's all you need to know, really. So I'll be back at 8:30 with the question, so grab a drink and I'll see you in a few minutes. Hello again, good evening, and welcome to this week's lockdown quiz. My name is Wayne and I will be your quizmaster tonight, guiding you through 6 rounds of brain-tickling questions. I'll be running this every Monday, so make sure you subscribe to the Lockdown Quiz channel on YouTube by hitting the button below, and keep an eye out on Carnero Lounge's Facebook page to know how to get involved in the future. So, just a little bit of housekeeping before we start. This is a test of your knowledge, not the speed of your thumbs. Please do not use internet services to search for answers. Instead, if you don't know the answer, have a guess. Most questions are multiple choice, so you'll have a 1 in 3 chance of getting it right. Also, don't pause the video. You'll only have a minute or 2 at the end to submit your answers, so you really need to stay in time with the live feed. If you win a prize, you will need to message Carnero Lounge on Facebook to claim it. And finally, if you hear snoring, it's not me, it's my dog Tess, who really, really loves to snooze. Anyway, now that's done, it is time to get on with tonight's quiz. So, 3, 2, 1, your first round tonight is, of course, general knowledge. It always is. So, question 1 of tonight's quiz. Which of the following is part of East Anglia? Is it Durham? Is it Kent? Or is it Suffolk? And on to question number 2. What would a Venezuelan do with a Bolivar? I think it said Bolivar. Anyways, would a Venezuelan eat it? Would they spend it? Or would they travel on it? Question number 3. What does the letter B stand for in LBW in cricket? Is it before? Is it behind? Or is it beside? And question number 4. Which Spice Girl famously wore a dress with a Union Jack pattern? Was it Baby Spice? Was it Ginger Spice? Or was it Posh Spice? Question number 5. What was George W. Bush's father's first name? So what was the name of George W. Bush's father? Was it George? Was it Neil? Or was it Prescott? Question number 6. Which caped hero flew his way around the city of Metropolis? Was it Batman? Was it Spawn? Or was it Superman? Question number 7. Which fruit goes into the pudding named after opera diva Nellie Melba? Sorry, Melba. Not Belma. Nellie Melba. Was it apples? Is it oranges? Or is it peaches? So see if I can get it right this time. Which fruit goes into the pudding named after opera diva Nellie Melba? Question number 8. Which of these was built first? Was it the Eiffel Tower in France? Was it the Einstein Tower in Germany? Or was it the Empire State Building in the USA? Question number 9. What comes after New South when referring to the name of an Australian state? So is it England? Is it Ireland? Or is it Wales? Which one of those comes after New South when referring to the name of an Australian state? And question number 10. How many faces would a dozen standard dice have? So how many faces would a dozen standard dice have? Is it 72? Is it 96? Or is it 120? And there we go, that's round 1 out of the way. So, on to round 2, the week that was. This is where I try and make a few questions up regarding things that have happened this week. So, we'll see what may have made it into the week that was. Question number 1. Saturday should have seen the 2020 Eurovision Song Contest, but in what city was it going to be held? Was it in Amsterdam? Was it in Haarlem? Or was it supposed to be in Rotterdam? Question number 2. How many points did last year's Eurovision winner, Duncan Lawrence, get in total? Was it 247? Was it 498? Or was it 554? Remember, if you don't know, just have a guess. Question number 3. What was found in the Forest of Dean this week that led to the arrest of 27-year-old Garissa Gordon? Was it Class A drugs? Was it human remains? Or was it offensive weapons? Question number 4. RAF Squadron Leader Jez Allinson has set himself the task of running 1,000 miles for charity, dressed as what? Is he going to be dressed as a fairy? Is he going to be dressed as Mr. Motivator? Or is he going to be dressed as a stormtrooper? Question number 5. Epic Games released free downloads of a popular video game on Thursday, but which game was it? Was it Doom Eternal? Was it Grand Theft Auto 5? Or was it Half-Life? Question number 6. Which American reality competition show has announced it will be recording its 2020 finale virtually? Is it RuPaul's Drag Race? Is it Survivor? Or is it The Masked Singer? Question number 7. A robot dog has been seen patrolling a park this week, but where was it? Was it in Germany? Was it in Singapore? Or was it in the USA? Question number 8. What company has ordered unauthorized copies of its online game to close after children were being exposed to explicit messages? Was it Disney? Was it Gans? Or was it Viacom? Question number 9. White House staff were ordered to wear masks at work, but why did Donald Trump say he didn't need to wear one? Was it because a test suggested he was immune? Was it that he was very far away from everyone? Or was it that it would be unpresidential? And question number 10. Rico Bat has stepped down as chief exec of which UK company, amid reports he has been running the business from his home in Switzerland? Is it GlaxoSmithKline? Is it HSBC? Or is it Royal Mail? And there you go, that's round number 2 done and dusted. Round number 3 this week is one of our speciality rounds, and this week it's all about country music. This one is quite tricky if you don't know anything about country music, I'm not going to lie. But then again, it is a quiz. So, you've got 10 questions on country music, they're all multiple choice. If you're not sure, just have a guess and move on. You never know, you may get it right anyway. So, question number 1. According to the American Country Countdown, what song was the very first number 1 hit for Montgomery Gentry? Was it If You Ever Stop Loving Me? Was it My Town? Or was it Speed? Question number 2. Who teamed up with Brad Paisley on Whiskey Lullaby? Was it Alison Krauss? Was it Leanne Rimes? Or was it Kelly Pickler? Question number 3. How old was Johnny Cash when he died? Was he 69? Was he 71? Or was he 79? And Beth, it's no good shouting at me. If you want to suggest a round, feel free to do so. I may include it next time. Question number 4. Who was the first country artist to sell over 10 million copies of an album? Was it Johnny Cash? Was it Garth Brooks? Or was it Brad Paisley? Question number 5. What country artist holds the world record for the most number 1 hit singles? Was it Conway Twitty? Was it George Strait? Or was it Ronnie Milsap? Question number 6. What was the name of Garth Brooks' rock and roll alter ego in the late 90s? Was it David Hubbins? Was it Derek Smalls? Or was it Chris Gaines? Question number 7. Which country singer is Miley Cyrus's godmother? Is it Reba McEntire? Is it Dolly Parton? Or is it Anne Murray? Question number 8. Which former Beatle had a 1989 hit duet with Buck Owens? Was it George Harrison? Was it Paul McCartney? Or was it Ringo Starr? Question number 9. Who had a crossover hit with these lyrics? It's a quarter after 1, I'm all alone, and I need you now. Was that Lady Antebellum? Was it Taylor Swift? Or was it Faith Hill? And question number 10. Which country artist is the youngest to ever win a Grammy Award? Is it Patsy Cline? Is it George Strait? Or was it Leanne Rimes? And that's round 3 done and dusted. On to round 4, which is all about famous firsts. So, question number 1. Who was Spain's first Formula 1 champion? Was it Carlos Sainz Jr.? Is it Fernando Alonso? Or was it Paco Godia? Question number 2. Security was the first of which type of fastener? Was it a hook and eye? Was it a snap? Or was it a zip? Question number 3. Who was the first man to set foot on the moon? Was it Buzz Aldrin? Was it Michael Collins? Or was it Neil Armstrong? Question number 4. Ruud Gullit became the Premier League's first black manager at which club? Was it Chelsea? Was it Manchester United? Or was it Newcastle United? Question number 5. Golda Meir was the first female Prime Minister of which country? Was it India? Was it Israel? Or was it Portugal? Question number 6. Which Middle Eastern country allowed women to drive for the first time in 2018? Was it Saudi Arabia? Is it Sudan? Or is it Yemen? Question number 7. Christian Barnard is responsible for which medical first? Was it the first blood transfusion, the first heart transplant, or was it the first transdermal patch? Question number 8. In which decade did the first wheel clamps arrive in Britain? Was it in the 1960s? Was it in the 1970s? Or was it in the 1980s? Question number 9. Which major sporting contest first took place in 1930? Was it the Football World Cup? Was it the Olympic Games? Or was it the Rugby World Cup? And question number 10. Which Frank Sinatra single was the first to spend 100 weeks in the UK charts? Is it Come Fly With Me? Is it My Way? Or is it Strangers in the Night? And there you go, that's round 4 done and dusted. So we're moving on to round number 5, which is a picture round. You will see a Mr. Men or Little Miss character. You just have to type in the missing word from the character's name. So a little clue here, I've put Mr. or Little Miss. So you just have to put the word that is missing. Okay, they're all one word. Now, all of the answers are one word. And the form automatically marks the answers correct or incorrect. So you will have to type the answer in full capital letters. You need to spell the answer correctly and be mindful that if you use a spell checker on your device, they sometimes leave a space at the end of the word. If it does that on your answer, it will be marked incorrect automatically. So just have a little double check before you submit the answers. And just remember, computers are as dumb as people who Google the answers to a pub quiz. So, moving on, here we go with question number 1. Who's this? Little Miss Who? Remember, full capital letters, spell it correctly, and check for the space at the end. On to question number 2. Who's this? Mr. Who? Question number 3. Who is this? Little Miss who? Question number 4. Who's this one? Mr. Who? Question number 5. Who are these? Little Miss who? Question number 6. Who's this one? Mr. Who? On to question number 7. Little Miss. Who's that? Remember, full capital letters. Spell it correctly. And check for that space. Question number 8. Who's this one? Mr. Who? Question number 9. Who is this one? Little Miss Who? Remember, you don't need to put Mr. or Little Miss on any of these answers. They should all be a single word. And question number 10. Who is this one? It's your last one for this round. Mr. Who? Who is that? And that's round 5. So, moving on to round 6. This is the final round. And this one is all about food and drink. Pretty self-explanatory. So, straight on with question number 1. If bread is left to prove, what does it do? Does it bake? Does it go off? Or does it rise? Question number 2. What initials indicate the highest quality of brandy? Is it AC? Is it RSVP? Or is it VSOP? Question number 3. What is a chanterelle? Is it a type of carrot? Is it a type of cream? Or is it a type of mushroom? So what is a chanterelle? Question number 4. What would you be eating if you were served calamari? Would you be eating pasta? Would you be eating squid? Or would you be eating vegetables? Question number 5. What herb is used when making gremolata? Is it parsley? Is it sage? Or is it tarragon? Question number 6. From which foodstuff is schnapps distilled? Is it distilled from apples? Is it distilled from peaches? Or is it distilled from potatoes? Question number 7. What type of dough is calzone made from? Is it made from cookie dough? Is it made from pasta dough? Is it made from pizza dough? On to question number 8. How is something cooked if it's sautéed? So is it baked? Is it boiled? Or is it fried? Question number 9. Chianti comes from which area of Italy? Is it Abruzzo? Is it Tuscany? Or is it Veneto? Provide your own fava beans. If you know, you know. And question number 10. Mozzarella is originally made from which type of milk? Is it buffalo milk? Is it cow milk? Or is it deer milk? And on to this week's tiebreaker question. So in what year did Clarence Birdseye first put quick frozen fish on sale? Just type in a year. If you're not sure, have a guess. If there's a tie, then the nearest will win it. So in what year did Clarence Birdseye first put quick frozen fish on sale? And there we go. That's the end of this week's quiz. Don't forget to press submit. And whilst the answers are coming in, I will just pop this up there. I'll give you a minute or two to get them in. Okay, it looks like most people have got their answers in. I'm just going to give it a few more seconds while I have another swig of my cider. There we go. Right. I can't see any more coming in, so we have 10 people sending in answers this evening. In 10th place, with 33 out of 60, is Lucy's mom. Well done, Lucy's mom. In 9th place, with 36 versus 60, so out of 60, Two Parents versus the Rona. Well done. In 8th place, with 37 out of 60, hang on. Is this you again, Sean? 1 second. Oh, blimey, how long is this one? It says, I said a hip hop, a hippie to the hippie to the hip hop, you don't stop. Rock it to the bang bang boogie, jump up the boogie, and that's as far as I've moved it along, so that's all you're getting, Sean. Well done, though, you got 37 out of 60. Next, in 7th place, with 39 out of 60, you've got Karen's Crazy Cats. Well done. And we've got a joint 5th place. With 40 out of 60, you've got FC Seals Plastic Mannequins. And you've also got the Chapman family. Well done to both of you. Moving up into 4th place, we have, with 41 out of 60, the Dunklings. Well done. Oh, we have a tie for 2nd place. Sean, I'll read your full name out in a minute. You don't have to shout at me. So in second place with 43 out of 60 are both the Boiled Eggs and the Quarantine. Only the Quarantine wanted a prize though, so thank you to the Boiled Eggs. You get the pride. The Quarantine get the prize. But in first place, with even more pride than the Boiled Eggs, we have, with 45 out of 60, Gangster Nanny. Well done, Gangster Nanny. Right, Sean, your name will be at the end of the video. You'll just have to wait for that. Stop shouting at me. So I'm just going to go through the answers now. There we go. Take it back to round one. So, which of the following is part of East Anglia? That was... Oh, helps if I go onto the right slide. There we go. Yep, the part of East Anglia was Suffolk. Question 2. What would a Venezuelan do with a bolivar? They would spend it. The B in LBW stands for before. The Spice Girl that famously wore a dress with a Union flag pattern was Ginger Spice, Jerry Halliwell. Question 5. George W. Bush's father's first name was George. The caped hero that flew his way around the city of Metropolis was Superman. The fruit that goes into the pudding named after Nellie Melba. I don't know why I keep saying Belma. Nellie Melba was Peach. Peach Melba, of course. Which of these was built first? That was the Eiffel Tower. That was finished in 1889. The Empire State Building was in 1931 and the Einstein Tower in 1921. So quite far ahead of the Eiffel Tower. What comes after New South when referring to the name of an Australian state? That is, of course, New South Wales. And question 10, how many faces would a dozen standard dice have? That's 72. So, in the week that was, Saturday should have seen the 2020 Eurovision Song Contest in Rotterdam. How many points did last year's winner get? That was 498. What was found in the Forest of Dean this week that led to the arrest of Garissa Gordon? That was human remains, apparently found in a suitcase. Don't mess with Garissa. RAF Squadron leader Jez Allinson has set himself the task of running 1,000 miles dressed as a stormtrooper. Epic Games released Grand Theft Auto 5 for free download this week. The American reality competition show that announced it will be recording its 2020 final virtually was RuPaul's Drag Race. A robot dog has been seen patrolling a park in Singapore this week. The company that's ordered unauthorized copies of its online game to close was Disney. It was the Disney Club Penguin website. White House staff were ordered to wear masks at work, but Donald Trump didn't wear one as he was very, very far away from everyone. And Rico Back stepped down as the chief executive of Royal Mail this week, after running it from Switzerland. Talk about staying at home. Okay, on to round 3, which was about country music. So question 1, according to the American Country Countdown, the song that was the very first #1 hit for Montgomery Gentry was If You Ever Stop Loving Me. Who teamed up with Brad Paisley on Whiskey Lullaby? That was Alison Krauss. Johnny Cash was 71 when he died. Who was the first country artist to sell over 10 million copies of an album? That was Garth Brooks. The country artist holding the world record for the most #1 hit singles is George Strait. Garth Brooks' rock and roll alter ego in the late 90s was Chris Gaines. Miley Cyrus's godmother is Dolly Parton. The former Beatle that had a 1989 hit duet with Buck Owens was Ringo Starr. The crossover hit with the lyrics "It's a quarter after one, I'm all alone and I need you now" was Lady Antebellum. Question 10. The country artist that was the youngest to ever win a Grammy Award was Leanne Rimes. Round number 4, famous firsts. Spain's first Formula 1 champion was Fernando Alonso. The Security was the first Zip. Who was the first man to set foot on the moon? Neil Armstrong. Not like Sean said, the moon does actually exist. You plonker. Ruud Gullit became the Premier League's first black black manager at Chelsea. Golda Meir was the first female prime minister in Israel. The Middle Eastern country that allowed women to drive for the first time in 2018 was Saudi Arabia. Question 7. Christian Barnard is responsible for the first heart transplant. In which decade did the first wheel clamps arrive in Britain? That was the 1980s. The major sporting contest that first took place in 1930 was the Football World Cup. Question 10. Which Frank Sinatra single was the first to spend 100 weeks in the UK charts? That was My Way. I'm not going to sing it. You probably... I'd apologise, but you should probably be thankful. Okay, round number 5. The Mr. Men and Little Miss. So number 1 was Little Miss Sunshine. Number 2 was Mr. Muddle. Number 3 was Little Miss Bossy. Number 4 was Mr. Tickle. Number 5 was Little Miss Twins. Number 6 was Mr. Messy. Number 7 was Little Miss Sparkle. Number 8 was Mr. Sneeze. Number 9 was Little Miss Giggles. And number 10 was Mr. Daydream. Well done if you got all of those. And on to your food and drink round. If bread is left to prove it will rise. Question 2, where the initials that indicate the highest quality brandy is VSOP. Apparently it stands for Very Superior Old Pale. Bit like me, only not superior. Just very old and pale. Question number 3. A chanterelle is a type of mushroom. Question number 4. If you were served calamari, you'd be eating squid. Question number 5. What herb is used when making gremolata? That's parsley. The foodstuff that schnapps is distilled from is potatoes. Question 7. Calzone is made from pizza dough. Although Lucy did message me to say that wouldn't a cookie dough calzone be fantastic? I agree. Maybe I'll try it. Not sure what the filling will be though. How is something cooked if it's sauteed? It's fried. Question 9. Chianti comes from Tuscany. And mozzarella is originally made from buffalo milk. And just in case you're interested, Clarence Birdseye first put quick frozen fish on sale in 1924. So there we go, that is your quiz. Let me just skip through these last few slides. There we go. So that's it for this week. If you came first or second, please message Carnero Lounge directly on Facebook. Let them know who you are so they can arrange to get your prize to you when they reopen. Thank you for playing along. I do like putting these together, but I like it even more when people enjoy them. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please don't forget to follow Carnero Lounge on Facebook and subscribe to the weekly lockdown quiz here on YouTube. I will be setting up my own Facebook page within the next week, as we're not sure how many more prizes Carnero Lounge can give out without actually opening and making any money. So, I'll be creating that for next week. Don't worry about that this week. Also, feel free to share this video about. People might not be able to win any prizes once the live stream has finished. But you can practice for next week. You can go through some of the older quizzes. And if you don't win, you might not. Even if you don't win overall, if you beat all your friends, you'll be able to hold your head high and get bragging rights. So I'm Wayne. I've been your quizmaster this evening. Please leave some thumbs up and feedback in the comments. Get in touch if you have any speciality rounds that you'd like me to include in the future. But until next week, look after yourselves and stay safe. Good night.